Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. My name's Darren, I'm a Canva certified creative, and on today's video I'm going to show you how you can work better with text in Canva. We're going to look at all the different text features that you can use and how best to use them and how you can use them to your advantage. So let's dive into Canva and have a look. So as I say, I'm Darren Meredith, I'm a Canva certified creative, and on this channel we do all things Canva related. So if that's something you're into and you want to learn more about Canva, consider subscribing down below. Okay, we're going to start off with just a template that I've created previously. This one is World Bee Day. That's coming up at the time of recording this. I think it's on the 20th of May, World Bee Day. If you want to check out my templates, I'll put a link down below to those so you can check those out at the end of this video. So how do we work with text? Well, before we dive into this template, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look and load a blank page. So the ways you can add text on to a template are you can just press T on the keyboard and that's going to add some text on there for you. The other way is that you can come over to the text option at the side here and you can just choose either a heading, subheading or a little bit of body text, and you can also use all these predefined or kind of like template text ideas that you've got here in Canva and also in styles. So if you've got some text on your template, if you like, so let's say we've got this text here and that's just default text. There you can also come to styles and you can come over to fonts and you can change the font options here, and as you cycle through these it'll change and update the fonts on there for you, which is fantastic. So that's adding text to the template. Really simple. Let's dive on to the next tip. For the next tip we're going to look at grouping and ungrouping text. So over here you can see on this template what I've got is I've got some grouped text. You can see there the way you ungroup it is just by clicking on this option here to ungroup it, and then that will ungroup it. In order to group the text you select more than one body of text, come over here and then you group the text, and that allows you to then move it around in one way. But there's also another reason as to why you would group text, and that is to allow it to what we call reflow better together. So you can see here where I've got this text grouped. If I come in here and I wanted to type in something else, if I hit the return key and type in something else, I don't know what that says, that doesn't even make a word, it's just random keys on the keyboard. But you'll see that what it's done is it's moved this down, but it's also kind of like spread out, and the way you do that, or the way you set that, is using this little icon here and in the spacing icon. And what that is that's what we call anchoring the text. So this is anchoring the text will help you when you're creating your templates or when you're creating your designs in Canva, will help you kind of your text move better. And you can see if I ungroup this text here, say if I wanted that up there, now if I come in here again and type something and you'll see it kind of like spreads up and down. If I wanted that to just move down, I would click on here. You see where the line is? Imagine that being kind of like the ceiling, if you like, so it can't go above that. That's kind of like a stopper. So because the stopper's at the top, if I click on that now, so now when I come in here and click, it moves the text just down. And likewise, if I come on this one where the stopper, if it's on the bottom, if I click on that and come in here, you'll see it's going to put the bottom, so underneath where it says B Day, that's going to be the bottom or the base, and it's just going to move upwards. Now the problem with that is that it does depend on other elements on your page. So the other way you can group text is if I copy this and this elements, if I copy these down onto a blank page for you, and also then copy over just a square block, and you'll see if I just move this block over the text, I'm just going to position that and put that in the center. So now if I group this text, and on this text I want this to move up and down, so now you'll see when I do that and I've grouped the text with the actual box. I've not grouped the text with the box. Oops. I want to just group all of that, so I'm highlighting everything, the text and the box, so everything is now grouped. Now, because I've got that boxed around the edge and it's covers outside of the line, you see this faint blue line around here, because the actual shape out the side covers outside of that. Now when I type in there and I move my box, that's going to exaggerate, or it's going to increase the size of the shape, and that's fantastic for when you want to have something that always has that background element in there. Just interrupting the video there, just to say, don't forget to check out the links in the description down below. I've got a link down there to my templates that you can use on Canva, and also I've got an exclusive 45-day free trial of Canva. So if you're not a Canva Pro user, check out the link down below, give Canva Pro a go for 45 days, and let's get back onto the video. So that's why you'd want to group and also anchor your text, because it'll allow you to position your text better and allow better what we call reflow of the text throughout the document. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is line height, and that's the space that it's going to create between each line or each word. You see here I've got kind of like a gap between where it says World Bee Day there. If I click on here, I can change this line height. So if I come down to say 1, you can see that's just about kind of not covering. What you want to think about is any letters that come down below like what is technically the baseline, and also kind of like pop up above. So if I had in there, say I had a Y in there, you'll see the Y and the D are very close together. So what I might want to do is actually change that line height to be a little bit higher, and that's why I've got in my template that I've created, why I've got mine at 1.18, so that there's actually a bit of a better space here. The other thing that you'll notice whilst on the line height effect there, I'm just going to take that Y out of there. One of the other things you'll notice is this letter spacing, and this is kind of what almost a bit like what kerning is, and it's the space between the letters of the words, if you like. So you can see as I increase it, the space increases, and I can also smush them up together. Smush face! So I can smush the words together, and it depends on the kind of effect that you want to go for. Obviously you're going to want the text to be legible. If it's more of a design thing, you might want to have it look a little bit more obscure or something like that, but you want it, you don't want it to be too wide either, because then it becomes harder to read. So there we've covered off so far. We've covered off adding text, grouping text, ungrouping text, why you'd want to group text. We've covered off anchoring text, and next I want to cover off text alignments. We come over to here and we see these are all center aligned at the moment, and what I can do is I can just click on this little icon here, and that will choose to align them to the left. Now let's say I'm going to ungroup this a second. I've got these here. Now in order to get these both aligned, I can just highlight those and I can go to position, and if I choose on left aligned, that's going to choose the left alignment on the position kind of like area. Did you follow me on that one? So it's not just about aligning them over here, because that's aligning them with inside their text box, if you like, but once they're aligned the same in their text box, then you can also align the elements, and this works for elements as well. So if I just pick on a couple of elements, I'm going to pick a blob and this blob, and I'm going to put those two on a new page. Oops. Let's just add those two blobs onto a new page. So I've got these two blobs here. I can just come to position and I can align them left. I can align them top, center, middle. So they're now kind of like center and middle with each other. I can align them along the bottom, and they're not grouped. You can choose to group them, but that's how you can align both text and elements and that's really helpful when it comes to making sure that you've got the correct alignment. There's nothing worse than when you're creating a design and the text is just not aligned correctly. So that's really helpful, I think, is to make sure that you've got both, you're choosing the correct. So if you've got one that's center aligned and one that's left aligned, so to speak, even when you come over to here, if you highlight those two elements, if I come over to position, they are both left aligned because you see the edge of the box is what it's actually aligning. So the problem is that one's in the center and not left, so you'd have to change that to left aligned, and then now both left aligned. If you want another way of checking to make sure that your things are lined up fully, you can come over to File and you can turn on Rulers and you can turn on Show Guides, and then if you click on the edge you can align those up here, and that shows that purple line there to make sure that those are aligned up. And that's another way that you can align objects or text within Canva. So I'm just going to get rid of that, and the next thing I want to show you is deciding between caps and non-caps. So you can see that here, this bottom one here is in all caps. If I just click on uppercase up here, which is the small a and the big A, that will toggle between being caps and non-caps. You'll see that the reason for the H at the beginning being a capital H still is that I've pressed Shift and H at the start there. So if I wanted to toggle that between, if I typed in all lowercase, then it would toggle between upper and lower case. Now, if this is really helpful, you're finding this really helpful, don't forget to consider subscribing down below. I've got some other more exciting text effects coming up as well. So let's dive back into Canva and have a look at those, but do consider subscribing down below if you're finding this video helpful. One more thing that I want to mention about when you're aligning or grouping the text with a shape is that you have to make sure that the shape comes over the edge of the box. So if I just come back to this and I just center align those, if this box only comes to the edges here, you see where the actual text box comes out to the edge here. What now happens if I highlight all those and try and group those? Now when I do that, it doesn't move the box behind the background. So if I come to ungroup and I click on this box, I want to make sure that that box comes out past the text. You see the little blue lines that come around the actual text box. Now when I actually highlight that, and if I group that, as I say, it will now reform or change the shape or the size of that box that you're grouping the text with. Now, thank you very much for sticking around this long into the video, really appreciate it. One of the new exciting things that I want to show you is the new Canva text effects that are available. You might be thinking, they came out months ago, Darren. Wait for this, wait for this. So we've got some text on here. I'm just gonna click on this. Wow, and you're like, okay, yeah, we know about the splice and the echo and the hollow, but now once you've actually applied that, you can actually now curve that as well. So look at that. So you can group, or you can not only group the texts and things like that, but you can actually now curve different styled texts. So if you've got a shadow effect, I'll choose a slightly better color for you to be able to see on this one. Let's go with that and change the background color to be something. There you go. So now when you come over to those text effects, you can now choose to have any of those. You can have hollow, and you can change the size of this, and you can change that, and you can bend hollow text. Same for glitch text, you can curve that. Any of these text effects you can change, and then once you either want them straight, which is fine, or you can add curved text So don't forget to let me know down in the comments what you found most useful in this tutorial. If you've got any questions about any of the things that I've shown you in this tutorial, do comment down below. I'll try my best to reply to every comment that I get down below in these videos. And until next time, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.